the morning. I remember. Take with the terror.
Never said I oppose fracking. Show the tape. Put it on your website. Put it on the website.
Live from Clark Studios in Rochester, New York. Broadcasting around the world. You're listening to You Made It Political, where the voice of the keyboard warrior is finally heard and the arguments presented are put to the political test. And now, here's your host, Matt Clark.
Good afternoon, Patriots from around the world, from around America. Welcome to another episode of You Made It Political. We're broadcasting live from upstate New York to around the world. It's so good to be back. We've taken a few weeks off. There's a lot that's been going on around the You Made It Political home front, but we are back daily, live at 3 p.m. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, the works. Whatever it is that your favorite platform is, you'll be sure to find us. Today, obviously, we're going to talk about a huge story, breaking news. Twitter, Elon Musk, liberals are having an absolute freaking meltdown over on Twitter. The hashtag rest in peace Twitter, the hashtag Twitter is finished are now all trending. To be honest, I don't think anyone really cares. Liberals, there's the door. Don't let freedom of speech slap you in the face on the way out, because to be honest, we don't really care what you do, but we've had enough. Elon Musk has now put up the most cash for the platform for any social media tech giant than I think anybody has in history. $43 billion. That's a pretty hefty price to pay for our freedom of speech. You know, who would have thought that freedom of speech would have been the most controversial issue in our lifetime? I mean, this is what we're fighting for right now, freedom of speech. And everyone's like, do you really think anything will change with Elon Musk buying Twitter, taking it private? And I do think it's going to change. I think a lot's going to change. You know, people are like, what life-changing situation is going to occur? You know, what world-changing outcome are we going to have by Musk taking Twitter private? Let me ask you this. Where would we be right now with COVID if the likes of Dr. Robert Malone were allowed to stay on the platform? Peter McCullough. Where would we be right now with lockdowns politically if Donald Trump was still on Twitter, having his voice, having his say? See, what a lot of people don't understand, except for Elon Musk, of course, and a lot of us on the right, Twitter is a platform for debate. It's not just a social media site where we post headlines. It's not Facebook where we post what we had for dinner last night or where we're vacationing. Twitter means business, and it means political business. And a lot of us go to Twitter to debate. We go there to argue, to fight. And Elon Musk posted today, listen, I don't care what political party you're associated with. This move is all about freedom of speech. And I hope that you all stay here and continue to voice your opinions, continue to voice your argument, whether you're a progressive, whether you're a liberal, whether you're a Democrat, conservative, far-right extremist. Freedom of speech in the United States must prevail. And Elon Musk just paid $43 billion, or is about to. It's not a done deal yet, but we all know it's actually, it is a done deal. We just don't know the terms of the deal. Wall Street Journal just reported only an hour and a half ago, the deal's done. There's been a deal made between Elon Musk and Twitter, and we're just now waiting for an announcement, and it could come on anytime during the show. I wouldn't know because I don't have anything tuned in right now besides what I already planned for the show. So feel free to comment in the comments if it actually happens, and we'll jump to that. But this is big news. This is huge. You know, when Donald Trump got kicked off of Twitter, I mean, that was the end of freedom of speech in America as we knew it. Because Twitter is all of our platform. It's where we go to vent. It's where we go to argue. It's where we go to debate. And that is very important in America. Debate. I don't want to just wait for debate night on CNN. I don't want to wait for the presidential debate every 4 years on Fox News. I want to be able to debate every single day of the week. And that is so important today for our democracy because debate is what helps you try to get the other side to see your way. So Twitter has been very left-leaning since Donald Trump got kicked off. And every other right-wing conservative, anyone from Donald Trump to Robert Malone to Peter McCullough to just pretty much anybody who did not toe the line on the left. So when you wipe out all of these conservatives, there's no more debate. I now can't influence the presidential election. I can't influence who I think should be running for school board. I can't influence who should be running for state legislature. It's now just propaganda being rammed down your throat without another side or an alternative side being able to have a say. So when all these liberals are now hashtagging rest in peace Twitter or liberal exit or Twitter's finished, we really don't give a shit. We honestly don't care if you guys leave, because for the last 2 years since Trump was kicked off, we had no voice. We're finally going to have a voice. And if the liberals don't want to be a part of that voice, that's their loss. If they don't want to be a part of the debate leading up to the 2022 midterms, that's their loss. So fine, give the floor to the conservatives. We'll sit here and have a field day all day long without you being able to now debate us. Which, to be honest, conservatives are probably thinking it's about time we're able to now have the floor to ourselves. But listen, at the end of the day, that is not what America is about. We were never meant to have the floor to ourselves. I don't want to see the liberals go just as much as they shouldn't want to see conservatives be kicked off. But we all know how the tolerant left respond to anything that they don't get or when things just don't go their way. They want nothing to do with conservatives. Well, I'd like to think that conservatives are better than that. And Elon Musk has actually proved that he's better than that. He came out this morning and made it very clear. He said, I want you guys here on this platform. And I've been a big fan of that myself for my own platform from the very beginning. And I say it constantly. Listen, thank you guys, every one of you who show up every single day and voice your much needed and much appreciated opinions. And it's because I want to be able to hear from both sides. I think it's very important. Listen, at the end of the day, we'd be hypocrites if we were going to sit here and scream and yell about Trump getting kicked off, but then wish liberals got kicked off themselves. It's very hypocritical of us. And we know we're better than that. So what's going on here exactly? For those of you guys who aren't really aware of the Twitter drama, if you've been buried in work all day, or if you're just waking up in other parts of the country, or you're just going to bed in certain parts of the world, let's bring you up to speed here. Twitter is now set to accept Elon Musk's $43 billion offer. Now, this came out earlier this morning around 8:30. This is like ancient old news now, all right? Since then, it's been confirmed. It's not just they're set. It's totally confirmed. It's a done deal. We're waiting for an announcement now. The Wall Street Journal actually reported quite some time ago. So what does this mean to Twitter? If they go private, what happens? What happens to the shareholders? What happens to the board and their salaries? what happens to, is it really just Elon Musk's company to do with whatever he wants to with it? Is there a transitional period? Is Trump going to be able to come back online? Are conservatives going to be able to come back online? What does it mean for freedom of speech and everybody who's got kicked off? Does it, is it just everybody? Are we all allowed to just come back online? Is it going to be overnight? What's the deal? So let's break the article down here and get into it and look at this in a little bit more detail. So Twitter's now set to accept Musk's $43 billion offer. Nobody knew. Nobody actually knew
helped me really understand
that
my family's
or
immigration
thought we'd be able to get this
and
done.
what life
We'll
must
just
have been
kill
like
this
for them.
ad in a minute
And
so
as
you
I
guys
pass
can
it on
actually
to
hear
my
it.
daughter, it's
Sorry
an
about that.
important part of understanding who we are.
Give us 1 second to kill this. So Twitter is reportedly on the verge
We always find
of
a way to persevere.
accepting Elon Musk's $43 billion offer.
Give it to
It
God.
seems like every single ad on my entire show wanted to play at one time. So let's kill all this here. Twitter is reportedly on the verge of accepting Elon's bid. All right. Now, this was this morning, remember. Since then, it's already news. Twitter is going to absolutely accept it. They are going to accept it right now. We're just waiting for the news. The Monday report by Reuters sent shares Twitter soaring. Okay, more than 5%. Big jump. Twitter was unable to secure a so-called go shop provision. Remember, we had that whole poison pill thing. Anyway, that was a big load of shit. It didn't end up happening. That's out the window now. Therefore, it's now Elon Musk's for the taking. Basically, what they were trying to do is offer it to other people. Who else wants it at a discounted share price? The poison pill is just a load of garbage. It's a total slap in the face of free market. And I'm glad that it all shit the bed this morning. So they were unable to get the poison pill done. They were unable to do this go shop provision from Musk, which would have allowed it to solicit other bids from potential buyers. All right. The share price of Twitter at the time was $54.20 a share, blah, 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 blah. All right. So Twitter's board, they now got to offer. They're going to offer it to him. They're going to offer this to Elon Musk. Okay. Musk has an outstanding offer to buy Twitter and take it private in order to restore its mission for offering a platform of free speech. All right. They're going to take the deal. It's already done. Twitter's board resisted the offer and mounted a poison pill defense. That failed. That completely failed. Musk did threaten to put forward a tender offer that he could use to enlist the support of shareholders for his bid. This was a key factor here a very key factor in prompting the board of directors to seriously consider the office. They're like, yeah, nobody believed Elon was going to be able to go and whip up all this cash, tens of billions of dollars. Well, he did. He did it. All right. And this is what Elon Musk does. And he does it very well. This guy is just a workhorse when it comes to putting together deals. Elon Musk he's South African. He's not even, he's African American, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. He's African, he's an American passport holder, so technically he's African American. The sad thing about this is it took a foreigner to care more about the United States to restore our freedom of speech than it did an American. The Republicans are freaking useless. I didn't expect anything out of them. The Democrats, we know they've been trying to sabotage free speech so they can win elections. They've cheated every single step of the way. They have, wiped out people like Donald Trump. They've wiped out any medical expert that didn't agree with Fauci. So they've done nothing but try to destroy our First Amendment right, freedom of speech. It took a foreigner, Elon Musk, to come along and say, you know what, guys, this isn't right, what's being done for your country. That's the saddest part about this entire situation, that a foreigner had to come and say, this is messed up. Guys, stay tuned. We'll get into more of this and what the outcome's going to be just after this message. Hey guys, if you're anything like me, you don't have time to go to the gym. A diet is out of the question because life just gets in the way and there's too much going on than worrying about what you eat. But if you're desperate to lose weight, which, listen, I know we all are, especially after 2 years of sitting on their butts, not really doing much throughout the pandemic, it's time we all get back into shape. But I've got kids, I've got work, I've got a career, I've just got too much going on. Thank God I got these guys, Built. Get your Built bars. Every time you have those cravings, chew a Built bar, and it's going to help you cut down the fat. Instead of stuffing your face with McDonald's and French fries and KFC and all the other garbage that we chew on every day, snack on one of these guys. 20 pounds in 2 months. That's all I have to say. Some of the best and tastiest workout weight loss bars I've ever had. Cherry Barcia, mint chocolate chip, coconut, peanut butter brownie, salted caramel, cookies and cream. These protein bars right here, manufactured by Built, a massive, very reputable U.S. company, has been helping Americans lose weight in record pace. Each bar has a combination of protein blend, which is going to help you to shed fat and also put on muscle. Guys, you got to try these things out. Instead of those 400-calorie French fries at McDonald's, load up on some of these. I use it every day. I lost 20 pounds in 2 months. They're amazing. They're delicious too. I don't feel guilty stuffing my face with chocolate. Look at all these amazing flavors. So check it out. I've included a link in the comment section with a coupon. If you're a first-time customer, get up to 20% off your first order. You can now snack on real chocolate without feeling guilty. That's the best part. I dropped a link in the comments for you guys. Click the link. It's a great substitute to all the crap we eat. So go ahead, guys. I've secured a first-time customer coupon for you in the comment section. So we're here talking about the fact that Elon Musk is on the verge of spending something like $43 or $53 billion to restore freedom of speech here in America. And before the commercial just here, we were speaking about the fact that, you know, it's sad that it took a foreigner to care more about America's First Amendment right than any of the Republican Party, that any of the Democrat Party. You know, our own government hasn't been fighting. If anything, they've been working round the clock to destroy freedom of speech here in the United States of America. And the rest of the world has been warning us since the beginning of COVID. Immigrants have been warning us. South America, our European friends across the pond have been warning us. They've all been saying, listen, you guys are the last stop. And if you don't do something now, you're going to lose this and ruin it for the rest of us. Okay, so they've all been rooting for us. And I'm not surprised that it took a foreigner to say, you know what, enough of this shit. I'm coming in now. You guys can't get the job done. Hold my beer. I'm going to get the job done for you. So what's going on here on social media? Let's take a look at the comments, Cam. There's a lot of awesome comments coming in. If you're just joining us, we're talking about Twitter set to sell Elon Musk, the company, for $43 billion. It's a done. I don't know what the exact amount is. I don't know what the terms are, but there is a deal that has been made that is 100% official between Elon Musk and Twitter. That is 100% confirmed. We're just waiting for the announcement to come out as to what exactly that means. One thing we do know for sure, though, is that Elon Musk will be saving $3 million immediately out of the gate by not paying a single penny to the board. He will not be paying the board a salary. So whoever decides to stay on the board, Elon Musk will not be paying them a single penny. So right there, he's saving the company $3 million. I mean, I really think we're going to see this stock price soar. I think we're going to see a lot of people come back online that were silenced and canceled. So that's going to be great to see. I really hope they literally just, you know, unless there's some real reasons here to silence somebody. I mean, obviously we can't have illegal activities being going on Twitter. I mean, you can. But, Trump, I still defend the man to this day. I really don't think what he did was worthy of being kicked off social media. It doesn't matter what anybody thought he meant. The fact of the matter is Trump never organized a hate crime. He never organized an insurrection. And there's no proof of it. You won't find it anywhere. Trump didn't rally his followers to go down and storm the Capitol. He never wanted for that to happen. And you could think that maybe he did. You can think, well, we all know what he meant, but that's not how our judicial system works. We can't put people in prison. We can't find them guilty based on hearsay. And when you watch a court case, anything that happens in the court of law, as soon as it's hearsay, what do you hear the prosecutor or the defense do? They stand up and they say, objection, hearsay. Well, Trump didn't get that opportunity before he was kicked off Twitter. He didn't get an opportunity to fight it, to speak or argue his case. And that is why Elon Musk is making this move, to give all of us a voice to argue our case again. So if we're silenced on Facebook, screw it. I'll leave Facebook. Rumble is out there for us to go to. And I love that he decided to buy Twitter. And a lot of people are thinking, a lot of libs are losing their minds over there. The liberals are going freaking mental, and they're saying, why didn't he just start his own? Why does he have to hijack Twitter? Why can't he just leave us alone and start his own social media company like Trump did with Truth Social? And to be honest, I'm not a fan of that. I think Trump starting Truth Social is a step in the wrong direction. I'm on it. Okay. And I love that he did it, but I don't necessarily think it's a step in the right direction, because you're going to build another echo chamber. The world doesn't need another echo chamber. I mean, how many freaking echo chambers do we really need right now? And it's just conservatives talking to conservatives. The reason I like Facebook and I stay on Facebook and I stay on Twitter is because I know I'm getting through to Democrats. I know I'm getting through to liberals. Whether they want to follow me or not, I'm still going to get through. I'm still going to reach them. They're going to still see me show up in their news feed or show up in the algorithm. So I do stand a chance at arguing my case, to maybe influencing another side to see our point. And that's good enough for me at the end of the day. I don't expect them to all of a sudden like Trump again or vote for the guy if he did run for office. But I do expect to try to get them to see an alternative viewpoint, another angle, and say, you know what? I might not agree with Matt on these points, but I do hear and see where he's coming from on these points. And if I can just get them to think like that, then I've won. Then that's good enough for me. Then I've done my job. And that's all Elon Musk is saying. He's saying, listen, no matter where or what party you're affiliated with, please don't leave. Keep, come to the table with your debate, because that's what democracy is all about. Let's take a look at the Facebook cam and see what everybody's saying about this, because, there's a lot of cheering. There's a lot of motivation going on. Michael said, Trump will be silenced. No longer time for the snowflakes to go in their safe space. Now I hope you're right, Michael. I hope Trump will come back online. I really do hope he will. And again, I don't agree with the whole safe, liberals can now go to their safe space. Snowflakes can go to their safe space. Again, we don't want them to go to their safe space. We want the liberals and the progressives to stay on Twitter. We want to be able to have this conversation. Whether Trump comes back online or not, I don't know. I really hope he does. I mean, listen, if Elon takes this private, it's his company to do whatever he wants to do with it. That's it. There are no more shareholders. No more. There are no more shareholders. They all get paid out. Thanks for playing. Go find something else to invest in. He's not going to have he's not going to pay the board of directors a single salary. So how many people on the Twitter board right now are going to actually want to stay there? Probably who are used to getting paid. Probably nobody. They'll probably end up, they'll dissolve the board, or they'll just quit. I don't know, and he'll get a new board. But you better believe it's going to be a board full of people who support Elon Musk's ideologies and his passion for freedom of speech. So, we don't really want anybody to go to their safe space. We want everybody to show up, debate, have their arguments, hopefully be able to get each other to see an alternative view. Whether we agree or not at the end of the day is a different story. But I'd rather be able to all show up and agree to disagree, and then maybe have something to think about when all's said and done. But just to not show up, that's no good. We're not going to get anywhere that way. Imagine if we had a debate. Imagine if the presidential debate was one-sided. Imagine if only Joe Biden was allowed to show up to the debate. I mean, how effective would that be? Imagine if Donald Trump was only allowed to show up to the debate. Well, that's what's been happening, at least for Biden. That's what's been happening this entire time. And that's why when people are like, well, do you think anything will really change? Or you hear arguments about, what's Elon Musk going to do to really save America here? Well, listen, Twitter's not going to save America. But what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to all be able to influence each other again. I am an influencer of the elections. All right. I had to apply to Facebook to run ads on my social media platform because they deem me as an influencer to the elections. When I post, when I boost ads, when I'm talking about social and economic issues and politics and the elections, and I want to run an ad for that, I am paying to run ads to influence certain elections. So if you wipe me out, I'm another conservative that I don't get to argue and fight and hopefully steer America in a certain direction. And that's what Trump was doing. He was steering America in a certain direction. And that was my rebuttal today when people ask me, Matt, do you really think anything's going to happen here? Do you really think this is going to be life-changing? And I said, well, imagine if Dr. Robert Malone was allowed to stay on Twitter this entire time. Do you think we'd be where we are today? Do you think vaccines would be mandated? Do you think we'd be ramming booster shots down our college kids' throats? If Dr. Robert Malone was allowed to say, hey, we need to have an alternative view here. Do you think the Democrats would have been as aggressive with their policies? Do you think they would have gone as far left if Donald Trump was on Twitter this entire time saying, this is absolute BS, what's going on, and this is what we really need to be doing? We would have had gatekeepers. We would have had influencers playing for the other side, fighting to keep America down the center. But we haven't had that on Twitter because it's gone so far left, as has the Biden administration. We've taken this country so far left, and that's because the left have been able to say and do whatever they've wanted because we have literally been silenced on social media. Let's take a look at some other comments here on the Facebook cam and see what they have to say. Edward said, oh, this is a delight to read. Watch people so content in their cushy little world now have to deal with competing voices. See, and that is a phenomenal comment. And this is exactly what Elon Musk is arguing and what I've been arguing all morning. The libs have gotten away with fraud, with corruption. They have gotten away with murder. They have killed democracy. And they're not going to get away with it any longer. And this is a phenomenal comment because this is exactly why Musk ended up buying Twitter. Now there's competing voices again. Stay tuned.
President Joe Biden's approval rating slipping sharply into negative territory in the third quarter.
The president's approval rating is slipping to a record low, with the midterms now a year away.
It has been a rough 24 hours for President Biden. Yesterday, the Supreme Court blocked his vaccine mandate for large businesses, and 2 senators from his own party dealt a blow to his efforts to pass voting rights legislation.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not.
We are now being told that the Taliban is inside Kabul. The Taliban has confirmed that they will be taking charge of the city in the next 2 hours.
We now know that all the U.S. diplomats that were at the embassy in Kabul have been taken to the airport in Kabul.
Topping our world lead right now, U.S. troops are heading to Afghanistan for an urgent rescue mission.
Joe Biden promised he would shut down the coronavirus. He failed. And in fact, in 2020, during a presidential debate, he did say, I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon.
Why are you trying so hard in your first year to pull the country so far to the left?
Well, I'm not. I don't know what you consider to be too far to the left.
I've always said this, Brett. If I can't go home and explain it to the people of West Virginia, I can't vote for it. And I cannot vote to continue with this piece of legislation. I just can't. I've tried everything humanly possible. I can't get there.
You're done. This is a no.
This is a no.
If you guys are just joining us, we've been talking about Elon Musk. The deal's done. We're just waiting for a formal announcement. I have no idea if it's happened during this show. If it has, drop comments in the comments box there. Let me know what's going on because I'd love to know. I'm sure we'll see some sort of breaking news any hour now. It could be today. It might be tomorrow. But a deal has been made, and we're hoping that that deal is, in fact, a $43 billion buyout by Elon Musk to take Twitter private. That means shareholders are done. They're going to get paid out. That's it. Over what period of time will this transition be made? Who knows? One thing we do know, and I thought this was interesting, is that Elon Musk has very clearly said, I'm not paying a single penny to the board. So no more salaries. So if Elon Musk gets his company, I don't know who's going to work on the board for free after they've been used to a cushy salary. So that's $3 million right there gone. So, and again, this isn't about money for Elon Musk. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, it probably, there's an investment here. And if Elon stands to make billions off it in the future, good for him, because he put $43 billion on the line. He took the risk of the lifetime, the risk of the century, and he did it all for Americans. He did it for us, for our freedom of speech. I mean, this is a very, very selfless act committed by a foreigner. At the end of the day, I mean, could you believe it? A foreigner actually was, came to our rescue before our own government, before our own Republican Party, before our own American entrepreneurs. And I think that is something that we need to really pay attention here to. I think we really need to reflect on that and think, wow, is America so battered? Is America so beat up that Americans don't even feel like fighting anymore? Well, this one American did. He is a football coach, and I want to talk to you guys about this. I think this is very important. This is a great story if you haven't heard about it yet. Football coach here has been praying on the field after football games. Every football game, he ends with a prayer. The school told him to stop because parents who don't believe, atheists or parents who just thought, you know what, I don't think this is acceptable during football games. I want him to stop. He was told to stop. So he ultimately told the team, we can't do this anymore. But he didn't stop himself personally. And I'm going to break down the article for you in just a second. It's a great story. Because in America, besides freedom of speech, we have the freedom to practice religion. I don't think it should ever have been up to public schools. And this is something I personally would like to see change. I don't think it should have ever been the decision of the public schools to tell us we aren't allowed to pray in school. I think anybody who wants to pray in school should be allowed to pray in school. And I hope we see now SCOTUS is taking this case. This case has gone all the way up to the Supreme Court level. And they're gonna rule on this soon. This is a very big case to watch. Because again, public schools and what they want in their own schools should never, ever supersede the Constitution. And it's in our Constitution to be able to pray and practice religion, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's Judaism. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We all have the right to practice our religion. Why isn't that right extended into the classroom? If a group of students want to pray during school in the cafeteria, that should be their prerogative. After all, we're allowed to, right? In America, freedom of speech. So this football coach here, he was suspended, okay, because he personally refused to stop praying after football games. Every football game, he took a knee on the 50-yard line and he prayed. He didn't tell the team they had to. He didn't force anybody to pray with them. He simply took a knee by himself after the game. So ultimately what happened was the high school students said, hey, coach, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm praying. And they said, well, coach, I want to pray with you too. So they took a knee with coach. And it grew, and this thing just grew. And even opposing teammates started to pray with the coach. So you can imagine at the end of every football game, you've got both sides praying, thanking God for their game. Well, certain parents didn't like it. Public school went berserk, and they suspended this coach. This case has now gone all the way up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is going to now hear the case of high school football coach fighting for the right to pray. Why we need to fight for the right to pray when it's already in our Constitution is beyond us. Let's break this article down because I think it's a really good one for you guys to be aware of. And I want you to help us, help me, help anybody who practices, help this coach fight for our right to be able to pray in schools. And that goes for every religion. Because, when I grew up, we used to see a Christmas tree in school. We used to see a menorah during Hanukkah. And we learned about these different religions, and I loved
this
it.
Earth Day
it was
to save
great.
the sea turtles.
Jesus, that
SodaStream
scared me.
has
Sorry
partnered
about
with
that.
SeaTurtles.
So, I nearly had a heart attack there. So, I think it's really important that we're able to be able to celebrate other people's religions, including ours, in schools. All right. So Joseph Kennedy. All right. Joseph Kennedy is the coach. He prays after every game. But the former Washington State resident is now in perhaps the biggest fight of his life. One that has taken him all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court in a religious liberty dispute over the limits of exercising one's faith in public. 9 justices will hear oral arguments today, Monday, on whether the local school district properly suspended Kennedy from his job at Bremerton High School after he refused to stop praying on the field at the end of the games. Now remember, He didn't pressure anybody else to pray with them. He didn't say, kids, we're going to pray, and if they don't like it, they can sue me. There was none of that. He just said, fine, everybody, we're not allowed to pray. I'm going to do my own thing. Again, First Amendment right, freedom of speech, freedom to practice religion in the United States of America. Okay, that right does not get blocked, does not get denied because a public school said so, which is kind of ridiculous. That public schools get to tell us, our kids, whether or not they get to pray inside school. It'd be like telling students that when they come into school, all rights, the Constitution doesn't exist here. You can't do that. Okay? So this high school coach now took this already to the Supreme Court. The whole idea, this is what he had to say. The whole idea of just because I'm working there, I have no rights anymore as an American, ridiculous. When do I stop representing the school district? And that's what we're kind of asking. Just a simple thing. Can I pray after a football game? So this guy, he's saying his argument is, I'm just here. I want to pray after a football game. It's my constitutional right to be able to practice religion. And after the game, I want to take a knee and I want to pray. The school district, however, argued that the act was anything but a private moment of reflection. And again, who gave the school the right to even implement these sort of draconian policies where they just tell kids you're not allowed to pray anymore? No more practice of religion in school. Who the hell gave them that right to tell our children, to tell us when we were in school that we're not allowed to pray anymore, that we're not allowed to practice religion? Was that ever challenged, or did America just bend over to that when they decided to implement these rules in school? So the school district argues that Kennedy, this football coach, praying is anything but a private moment of reflection, and that it continually involved public prayers with students, some of whom felt pressured. No, that is bullshit. They were never pressured. This man here was never, ever pressured. He was never pressured into, or he never pressured any student. The students wanted to pray with him. They wanted to meet him there out on the 50-yard line because they loved what Coach was doing. The only parents who were pissed off about this were the parents who thought that if my kid doesn't join in, that maybe Coach won't start him. Maybe Coach won't play him in next week's game. But the coach never once gave any of the parents or any of the players an indication that would even happen. So this was all just manufactured BS, hypotheticals manufactured by our very left-leaning public school system, who said, we don't like religion in school, so we're going to make sure that guy can't practice religion either. And any student who wants to go and pray with them, we're going to make sure they can't pray either, just because, we don't feel that prayer in public school is acceptable. Yeah, well, we didn't think talking about BLM and critical race theory in school was acceptable either, but look where that ended. We're still trying to fight that nonsense. See, it only works for the liberal left. Whatever they want goes. Whatever the right wants gets canceled. And for some reason, along the way, religion ended up being this right-winged ideology. So they canceled it. So the left are claiming that this guy, this football coach, who just wanted to take a knee by himself at the 50-yard line, he didn't want to involve anybody else. He didn't ask anybody else to be involved. He just wanted to take a knee. Other players joined him, and now he gets suspended. This case is going all the way up to the Supreme Court. 9 justices are ruling on it or hearing arguments today as we speak, so I'll be sure to keep you guys in the loop on that. So back to the article real quick. Before we break, the school argued no child attending public school should have to pray to play school sports, said Americans United for Separation of Church and State President Rachel Laser, the group representing the school district. No student should ever be made to feel excluded, whether it's in the classroom or on the football field, because they don't share the same religious beliefs of their coaches, teachers, or fellow students. That is the argument that this school has for this guy. That is the argument. And I don't agree with that argument, because it's a very dangerous road that we're now going to be finding ourselves going down. So that means every time you don't agree with anything that I want to do within the public school that I am constitutionally bound to, that I have the right to, you're now going to say, nope, because it's in school, it doesn't go because the kids feel pressured. Horrible argument. Stay tuned. We'll get more to this when we get back. You Made It Political would not have been possible without this book right here, Expert Secrets by my man, Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson wrote this book to help people like you and I become leaders in our space, to gain an audience and a public following that respects, loves, and watches our shows on a daily basis. Expert Secrets will help you find your voice and give you the confidence to become a leader. It'll show you how to build a mass movement of people whose lives you can affect. And most importantly, it'll teach you how to become an expert authority in your field where people actually pay you for your advice. The best part about Expert Secrets is it's absolutely free. You just pay for shipping. Whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, a podcaster, or a live YouTube streamer, you want to grab a copy of this book. It'll teach you everything from building your audience to driving traffic to making this a full-time job so you can get paid for your passion. So, a former high school assistant football coach, Joe Kennedy, at the center of the field on the 50-yard line, who used to pray by himself, is no longer allowed to. He prayed after every game on his own. He didn't pressure anybody to praying with him. It's his First Amendment right, freedom of speech, to practice religion. Here he is on the 50-yard line, thanking the Lord for a great game. What happened was the students wanted to be a part of that. They said, "Coach, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm praying." They wanted to be a part of it. But parents who weren't comfortable with this argued that the kids who didn't want to be a part of it were going to be maybe penalized by not starting the next game, maybe not being played in the next game, making and manufacturing these hypotheticals, which is what we see from the liberal left, no doubt, most likely leftists, progressives, that follow and toe the line of the liberal indoctrination centers that we refer to as public schools. And the public school had a big problem, so they suspended him. He's now taking this all the way to the Supreme Court. 9 justices are hearing oral arguments today as we speak. And I pray that he wins this case, because stripping religion from schools was a horrible idea. It was an awful idea, because our Constitution doesn't end the second that we walk into the classroom. And that's basically what the public schools told us was going to happen when they canceled religion. Do you believe kids should be allowed to practice religion in schools? Do you believe they should be able to pray during or after a game? And all religions. You can't just allow one religion but not another. So it is a constitutional right of ours. And now that this case is in the mainstream media, personally, what I would like to see is not only he get his job back, but I'd like to see this coach be able to pray on the 50-yard line after every game. And eventually, I'd love to see more of this. Because again, Not because I support one, well, I do support my religion over all other religions, so I'd be insane to suggest otherwise, but not just to support religion, but to support our constitutional rights. Because the public school system is just taking things a little bit too far. And they have gotten away with way too much over the last few years. We see what they've done with Black Lives Matter. We see what they've done with critical race theory. We've seen how they blasted Donald Trump and any right-wing ideology. They've constantly slammed all of it while having a field day with whatever left-wing topics they want to ram down our college kids or our high school students' throats, and now teaching sexual education as early as kindergarten and teaching transgenderism as early as 3rd, 4th grade. They've gotten away with everything. So for this one guy here to now say, all I want to do is say a freaking prayer by myself on the 50-yard line, and you won't even let me do that, it's out of control. And rightly so, this case has gone all the way up to the Supreme Court. So what do you guys think? Should we allow this in school? Is this a dangerous road we're going down? Do we allow prayer for all or prayer for none? Do we allow certain types of religions? I mean, that wouldn't be cool, but ultimately, that's what the schools are saying right now. We're allowing certain beliefs, we're not allowing others. Dawn says, in Timothy, it says, persevere and proclaim the gospel, and it cannot be perverted. Endure the suffering. This must follow, and we must share in the suffering. Keep on doing this, coach. You are doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing, and every time people go against you, they are going against God, not you. You are doing it for God's kingdom. Amen, Dawn. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. Murray says, such stupidity. This is supposed to be a free country, but not with the left in control. People should be able to pray when and where they like. Absolutely. It does not stop on public school property. And again, it's public school property. There's one thing I learned from the COVID pandemic. It's that the public schools have gotten away with rules and policies that they were never legally allowed to get away with. The mask, for example, total BS. They arrested people for wearing masks on school property. None of it held. Why don't we go up against the public school more? Why don't our school boards say, hey, that rule, that mandate you just came up with, you telling kids they're not allowed to practice religion in schools, that's actually not legal. That is not constitutionally allowed. And it needs to stop right now, and you need to reinstate that policy because you just broke the law. Why don't more people go up against the public schools when they overreach and overstep their boundaries, when they violate our constitutional rights? And it's as simple as that. The argument should not go any further. Marie just summarized the entire case and has won with this one comment. And if SCOTUS doesn't see it this way, will I be surprised? No, because SCOTUS just doesn't seem to really rule on our constitutional rights anymore. They rule on how propaganda wants them to rule. But it'll be a very sad day in America. Because again, the public schools now have another set of rules than the actual Constitution. Now, we all know public schools are nothing but government schools. And to call them public is actually a joke. They should be called governmental indoctrination camps. But who would actually send their kid to school if they knew they were sending their kid to a governmental indoctrination camp? Because that's what's going on right now. The second that you tell people, hey, when you're on public, first of all, it's public property, which means I can do anything I want on public property, as long as I don't break the law. And I've had people on my show where they've proven that at school board meetings. Cops have stopped arresting parents for these stupid mask mandates or violating mask mandates wherever they do exist in the country today, if they even exist at all. Most of them are gone. But those who actually challenged the mandate won. because the courts couldn't argue. The courts couldn't back up the school because they were never legally allowed to be enforcing these policies in the first place. So is the court allowed, or is the public school system allowed to, were they ever allowed to prevent our children from practicing religion? It's a constitutional right. Marie, you summed it up perfectly. Such stupidity. This is a free country. It is in our Constitution that we should be able to pray. Public schools do not supersede the Constitution, just like COVID didn't supersede the Constitution. Kathy Hochul's mandates did not supersede the Constitution. Neither did Gavin Newsom's or any other Democrat tyrannical mandate that was imposed on us here in the United States. The CDC does not supersede the Constitution. And I think we're going to see the left get slapped in the face with the Constitution more and more now. And I think what Elon Musk did today backs that up and says, listen, enough. If I have to spend $43 billion freaking dollars to shut you up and remind everybody that we have the right. We all have the right. I don't care if it's a private company or not. When you silence me on any platform, you are violating my constitutional right. Wesley said, free country, freedom of religion. I prayed, dear Lord, that they would uphold the Constitution upon which it is great. This great country was built upon. We'll see. It's SCOTUS after all. I never know what to expect with these people. Dale said, let's allow prayer of all kinds or none. Well, right now, Dale, it's none. So personally, listen, I don't ever want to see a child suspended for praying. If a Muslim wants to pray on the hour, every hour in school, let them. If a group of Christians want to sit around and read the Bible during lunch, let them. It's no one else's business how we want to practice. And I don't think the school should have a right to dictate whether we allow our constitutional right to be blocked inside the public school walls. Muslim prayers, Jewish prayers, Christian prayers, all of it should be allowed. Bonnie said, sorry, I think everyone has the right to pray, but not in a public school. Why, Bonnie? Why? Why wouldn't we be allowed to pray in public school? If it's our right, it's our right. You can't say our constitutional, you can't say you have the right to bear arms, but you can't do this. It's very similar to what Nancy Pelosi said at the Capitol. Well, no, we don't want guns on the Capitol. And Lauren Burbick, Congresswoman for Colorado, said, oh, that's not your right, Nancy. We are allowed to bear arms. Now, I do agree with the fact that we shouldn't allow children to be bringing guns into school. That'd be insane. But that is a safety issue. So let's not mix the two. It's a safety issue. You cannot have weapons inside schools where kids could get a hold of them and start shooting and killing each other. That's insane. When it comes to our children's safety. But I don't think there's anything unsafe about practicing religion inside schools. So I really hope SCOTUS does the right thing with this one. I hope they overturn this. I hope the coach is allowed to have his job back. I hope he's allowed to pray after school, and whoever wants to pray with him, I hope it's their prerogative. Thanks, guys, for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow.